We are going to learn how to make this lovely versatile net pouch perfect for all your special little items and trinkets. This pouch is actually really easy to make, even as a complete beginner, and I'll be here to guide you through all the steps. So let's get started. Here are the materials that I used. The very first step of our project is to learn how to create a slip knot. To create a slip knot, you can start by holding your yarn like this. Bring the tail end of your yarn to the back. Then from the back, we're going to insert our fingers into the loop. Then grab the tail end of your yarn and pull on that loop to create something that looks like this. Next, grab your crochet hook and insert your hook into that loop, and we're going to tighten the yarn against your hook so that it sits more snugly on our hook. And there's our slip knot. Our next step is to create a chain. So to create a chain, what we're going to do is wrap your yarn around the hook like this and pull through that loop that we made earlier. And you can see this V shape that has formed. This is our first chain. Let's make another one together. So wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through. And that is our second chain. Let's do one more. Wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through. You can see 1, 2, 3 chains. So let's do this 22 more times. So altogether, we should have 25 chains. So I've created my row of chains, otherwise known as a foundation chain, and now we're ready to begin round 1. To start round 1, we're going to chain 1 extra. This doesn't really count as part of our foundation chain, but rather it's to account for the height of the next round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a stitch marker and insert my stitch marker through that last chain that I have done. Just to remind myself, it's not really part of my foundation chain. Next, what I'm going to do is skip the chain that we have marked, and we're going to look at the one after. You can see it's this one here. That's where we're going to insert our hook. Insert your hook into that second chain from your hook. So we're inserting into that top arm. Then we're going to wrap your yarn around and pull through. So now you have 2 loops left on your hook. Wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2 loops. So we just created a single crochet. You can see our single crochet sitting in our chain like this. So in that exact same loop, we are going to insert our hook again and do another single crochet. So wrap your yarn around the hook, pull through. Here's our 2 loops. Then you want to wrap around again and pull through 2 loops. So to recap, in one chain, we have done 2 single crochets. What we're going to do now is put 1 single crochet in each of our chains until we get to the other side. We can find the next chain, so that's our V here. Insert your hook into the next chain, wrap your yarn around and pull through. So we have 2 loops, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2 loops. So we just put 1 single crochet into the next chain. We're going to straight away move on to the next chain. So you can see it's this one here. Insert your hook into that one there. Wrap your yarn around and pull through. Then wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2 loops. So let's continue this all the way to this side. And there's something special we're going to do here as well. So I'll meet you here. So So you can see I've single crocheted all through to the other side, and there's one more loop I have before my knot at the very end. So that's where I'm going to insert my hook and put another single crochet in. So we've just put one single crochet in that end chain. What you're going to do is, again, insert your hook into that same space, then put another single crochet in. So that's our second one. And do this one more time so we have our third single crochet in the same space. To recap, we just put 3 single crochets on our very last stitch, and you can see it's sort of curving because there's not much room. They're all cramped in that little space, and that's okay because we are trying to create a turn that goes around. Zooming in a little bit, we can see the other sides of our chains that we haven't been using. So you can see it's like the arms of the V on the other side. So in that first arm, that's where we're going to insert our hook. Then wrap your yarn around and finish off your single crochet. We're going to keep going. So in the next half loop, we're going to insert our hook, wrap your yarn around, pull through, and wrap around and pull through again. So let's continue this all the way around, and towards the other side, I'll show you how to finish off this round. So I've just been single crocheting all the way to the other side, and I want to show you what to do from here. So remember at the very start, we put a stitch marker where our extra chain was, meaning the one before, so this little loop here, this little loop must belong to the very last proper chain in our foundation chain. In other words, we still need to put a single crochet into that loop as well. So insert your hook there, and we're going to put a single crochet in that loop as well. And now we get to a point where the next loop would be our extra chain that we did at the start, so our very first one with our stitch marker in it. So that's where we know to stop. So remember back when we were inserting that stitch marker, we said that extra chain was for the height of our row. So technically it doesn't count as a stitch, so we're not going to insert our hook there. So skip the chain that has our stitch marker in it, and we're going to insert our hook into the 2 arms of the stitch after that one. And we're going to wrap your yarn around the hook, pull through, but this time instead of wrapping around and pulling through, we're going to pull through our first loop through the second loop like this. And that was our slip stitch. So now we have successfully completed round 1, and this creates the base of our pouch. I'm going to remove my stitch marker now, and we're ready to start round 2. To start round 2, we're going to first chain 2. And so you can see it popping up like this. With this last chain that we made, we're going to mark it with a stitch marker, like this. So once we've marked our second chain, what we're going to do is chain 1 more. From there, we're going to look back at our stitches on the bottom, and you can see this would be our next stitch. We're going to skip this one and move on to the next one. So that's where we're going to insert our hook. But before you insert your hook, we're going to start by wrapping your yarn around the hook. Insert your hook into that stitch that we talked about earlier. Wrap your yarn around the hook again and pull through. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. Then you want to wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through the first 2 loops. So you have 2 loops on your hook now. Then wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through the last 2 loops. this was our double crochet. So you can see what happened was we chained 2 at the start, then our extra chain was our bridge across, and it connects to our double crochet. So you can see that's like a square. So we're going to keep creating these squares as we go along. To move on, we're going to chain again to create the bridge across, skip the next stitch along, and we're going to insert our hook into the one after. But of course, to start our double crochet, you want to wrap your yarn around the hook again, insert your hook into that stitch, wrap your yarn around the hook, and pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook, wrap your yarn around the hook again, and pull through 2 loops. So we have 2 loops remaining, wrap your yarn around the hook again, and pull through the last 2 loops. So you can see we have created another square. So we're just going to keep alternating between creating a chain, wrapping around, skipping the next stitch, and putting a double crochet in. So only the very first part was different where we had to chain 2, but the rest is super repetitive. So keep alternating between the 2 until we reach the very end to the other side, and I'll show you how to finish off our round as well. Even on the other side where you have a curve going on, you just follow the same pattern. So chain, you can see that's the next stitch. So skip that one and we're going to double crochet into this one here. Once you've made your way around, it's easier to see if you lift up your stitch marker. So if we were to chain 1 again, as usual, normally we'd skip the next stitch and then insert our hook into the one after, but you can see that's the space where our 2 chains are coming out of. That means we're done with the double crochets for this round. So at that point, we're going to connect back to the very start. So that chain where our stitch marker is holding in place is where we're going to insert our hook. It might be easier if you take the stitch marker out, just remember which spot it was in. Once you've inserted your hook into that chain where the stitch marker was inside, you want to then wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through. Then pull through one more time. And that was our slip stitch. And you can see we have successfully created our round 2. To start round 3, it's very similar. We're going to again chain 2. Use your stitch marker to mark that very last chain that we have created. Then again, chain 1. We're going to look for the stitch where our last double crochet is sitting underneath, which is this one here. So again, we skip 1 and we're going to insert our hook in here. So wrap your yarn around, insert your hook through the 2 arms of that stitch, wrap your yarn around and pull through. With the 3 loops, we're going to wrap your yarn around and pull through just the first 2 loops. Then wrap your yarn around and pull through the last 2 loops. And you can see we have another square on top of our square. We're going to keep continuing on with the exact same pattern. So again, chain 1 and skipping 1 stitch, put a double crochet into the one after this one. So keep repeating the same pattern again, and we're going to go all the way around, and I'll meet you at the other side again. And I'll show you how to finish off the round again, just so you feel 100% confident. If you pull up my 2 chains like this, you can see that my next stitch would be the one here. This is the one we're going to skip. If I skip that one, the one after that is where my 2 chains are coming out of, which means it's time to chain 1 to create the bridge to connect our 2 ends together. So chain 1 more time. We're going to insert our hook into the chain with the stitch marker in it. Then wrap your yarn around and pull through. With the first loop, we're going to pull it through the second loop. So finish off our slip stitch. And that was round 3. You can see round 3 was very similar to round 2. So from here, round 4 and onwards is the exact same as well. I'm going to do 14 rounds in total, which means when there's 13 of these rows with the squares in it, that's where I'm going to stop. So I'll meet you at the end of round 14. I've now finished my 14th round and it looks something like this. And I've done my slip stitch as well so that it's all connected. Chain 1 extra. Then you can grab your scissors and cut the end. Once you've cut that end, you can pull on your hook and pull tightly with your fingers. And there we have the body of our pouch. Before we proceed with the strap, we are going to weave in these ends. So what that means is we're going to hide this yarn. And how I like to do that is I like to insert my hook into the next stitch, then grab your yarn and just pull it through. From the other side, you can insert your hook into the next stitch and pull through the yarn. And keep repeating down your work until you've weaved through a few stitches. Once you've done a few weave ins and outs, at that point you can grab your scissors and cut your yarn really close to your work. Be really careful not to cut your actual work. And once you pull against it a little bit, it becomes quite seamless. With the other end, we might do a similar thing. So weaving in, this step doesn't have to be perfectly precise. We just want to make sure our tails are nice and hidden. Once our ends are nice and weaved and tucked in, we can start our strap. To create our strap, again we're going to create a slip knot. So again, holding your yarn like this, bring the tail end to the back. Insert your fingers into that loop. Grab the tail end of the yarn and pull to create a loop. Insert your hook into the loop. Tighten your yarn against the hook. And we are going to chain 80. It's going to be a long strap. So I'll meet you once you've finished chaining 80 all in one row. Once you have chained 80, we're going to cut the end of our yarn. pull against your hook and tighten with your fingers. Now we should have one long chain. Now grab the main body of your work. Now what we're going to do is find one edge of your work, and in that next space, we're going to feed in one end of our long chain, just like this. In the next space, we're going to thread it the other way, so from back to front. Make sure it's not twisting in between those two steps. And again, in the next one, we're going to insert through and bring the chain to the other side. And just repeat all the way across. And at the very end, we should get to a point where the two ends of our chain are coming out through the same hole. Before we move on to the next step, this is a really good chance to check your strap and make sure there's no twists all the way around. If there is, you can just correct it now. You can also see that my ends are quite not aligned. So I'm going to pull the shorter end a bit closer. Then hold my two ends together. With my other hand, I'm going to pull my bag shut and then stretch it open again. And this makes the end of my chains sit a lot closer to each other and it's a lot more even. From here, I'm going to tie my two ends together. You really want to make sure it's nice and secure. You ideally want to knot it 4 or 5 times just to ensure peace of mind. Once you're happy with that and you're sure that your knot is not going to fall apart, you can snip off the tails of the yarn quite short. And that's actually our pouch all complete. You can close your pouch using the drawstring mechanism and you can open it up again like this. I'm really proud of you for getting through to the end. Please let me know how you went in the comments. I really love seeing comments and suggestions from you guys. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.